Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the Daily Debate. My name is Ahmed Nader, and tonight we're going to focus on the Egyptian economy, as we did see over the past 10 or 11 years under the tenure of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. We will be anticipating more growth in the upcoming decade as well for the country, and more specifically in the field of industry and the localization of industry, how things will be going in the next decade, and more specifically under the tenure of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the current presidential term. All of this and more will be focused upon during the course of the episode of the Daily Debate for tonight. But we'll be starting, however, with the main top stories for today, and they come through the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi as well, who stressed the necessity of finalizing work at the ongoing transportation projects in the set timelines, in line with the state's vision for developing the transportation sector and localizing the industries. The President made these remarks in a meeting with the Chief Executive Officer for the French international company Alstom, Henri Popard. The meeting reviewed the progress of work at a number of transportation projects carried out by the French giant in Egypt, in addition to the national efforts for localizing the industry of railways. The meeting also touched on the developments of establishing Alstom Industrial Complex at Burj Al Arab City. The meeting also tackled the pace of work of the 6th Cairo Metro line, in addition to the ongoing negotiations pertaining to the operation and the maintenance of the monorail. And speaking of the bilateral relations between Egypt and France, the French President Emmanuel Macron arrived in Egypt and started an official visit for the summit talks with President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. The talks are expected to cover ways of boosting bilateral ties in various domains, the latest regional developments, as well as a number of files of mutual concern. Earlier, the Élysée Palace announced that the French President would use the visit to Egypt to travel near the Gaza Strip, going to the town of El Arish. It added that Macron would meet the humanitarian and the security workers there on Tuesday to stress his constant mobilization in favor of a ceasefire in the Strip. The activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi that took place over the past week will be wrapped up in the upcoming report. Stay tuned.
Via his official Facebook page, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi extended his sincere congratulations to the Egyptian men's national sabre team on their historic achievement of winning the gold medal in the team competition at the Men's World Cup held in Hungary. Via his official Facebook page, President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi extended his sincere congratulations and best wishes to the great Egyptian people and to the Arab and Islamic nations on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi performed Eid al-Fitr prayers with the participation of senior state officials at Field Marshal Tantawi Mosque in the 5th settlement. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi exchanged Eid al-Fitr greetings with a number of heads of state, kings and princes of Arab and Islamic countries. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi received a phone call from U.S. President Donald Trump congratulating him on the occasion of Eid al-Fitr. The two presidents discussed ways to strengthen bilateral ties. President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is following up on the implementation of the electricity supply for new agricultural reclamation projects supervised by the Future of Egypt Authority. President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi received a phone call from the French President Emmanuel Macron. The call addressed bilateral ties between the two countries and ways to strengthen them as part of preparations for the French President's upcoming visit to Egypt.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate. That was a report about the presidential activities of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi that took place over the past week, all wrapped up in the past report. As for the upcoming report, and as I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, that tonight we'll be focusing on the economy of Egypt and more specifically the industrial sector of the country and the localization of industry, how things are going and how things went already in the past decade and how things will be going in the upcoming 10 years as well under the current term of the presidency of President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi. As we did see in the past 10 years, in the past decade, more than 22 industrial sites were built and constructed over the governorates, across the governorates of Egypt, with more than 5,046,000 units taking place and being constructed in the past 10 years across the governorates of Egypt. We'll be having more details in the upcoming report, so stay tuned.
Egypt built 22 industrial sites across governorates with 5,046 units in just 9 years. Egypt's industrial sector has achieved significant progress from July 2014 to June 2024. The most noteworthy industrial achievement is the establishment of 22 industrial complexes in 15 governorates, which comprise a total of 5,046 industrial units. The construction of these industrial complexes has been completed 100%. Moreover, new industrial cities like Robeki Leather City on 506 fedans have been established, with the first phase completed 100%, the second phase completed 45%, and the third phase completed 95%. Additionally, the local development program in Upper Egypt includes implementation of infrastructure works such as water, sewage, roads, electricity, telecommunications, and natural gas in regions of West Gerga and West Tahta in Sohag Governorate, and 2 regions of Kafte in Qana Governorate. During the period from 2016 to 2020, the total area of offered industrial lands, including roads, services, green spaces, and parking lots, amounted to 37 million square meters. Meanwhile, from 2016 to May 2023, 3,905 industrial plots were allocated with a total area of 14.8 meters square. Additionally, 85,752 operating licenses were granted from 2017 to May 2023. 7,433 building permits were issued from 2015 to May 2023, and 57,122 industrial records were granted. Currently, 10 industrial areas have been connected with utilities and services, and another 26 industrial areas are in the process of being connected with utilities. Under the Industrial Developer System, 720 land sale contracts have been approved for signing. The Industrial Development Authority has also prepared 56,600 studies on customs reductions, government agencies' needs, government tenders, and support for exports. The Ministry of Industry and Trade has issued several important decisions to boost the industrial sector, including a law to facilitate procedures for granting industrial licenses and issuing its executive regulations. The executive regulations for the Egyptian Industrial Products Preference Law in government contracts have been issued, along with Industrial Development Authority Law and its executive regulations. The ministry has also provided a broad package of facilities for special projects. It launched the national program to deepen local industrialization, which aims to improve competitiveness of the Egyptian industry, replace important products with local products, and create an industrial base of local suppliers. Furthermore, the ministry has issued an unprecedented facilitation package to enable small investors access to units in specialized industrial complexes. It also launched the national program to convert and replace vehicles with clean energy. The ministry has signed several memorandums of understanding to enhance cooperation with foreign entities and countries. For instance, MOU has been signed to enhance joint cooperation in the field of modernizing the infrastructure of grain dairy and bakery industries between Egypt and Russia. It aims to build new infrastructure facilities in Egypt for storing and processing grain, bakeries and dairy processing for 3 years.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over in the studio and in the episode for tonight is Dr. Abbas Zoghari, the economic expert. Thank you very much for being with us tonight, Doctor. Anytime. Of course, we will be speaking tonight on the economy of Egypt, on the industry and the strategy that we will be applying in the field of industry and the localization of industry here in the country. Of course, we are needing to be getting the imports down and the exports up, to be decreasing the imports and increasing the exports as well. But how do you see the importance, first of all, of the localization of industry for the economy of the country?
Well, actually, they have been working very hard on it since 2015, and the aim of that, as you have mentioned,
yes,
to decrease import and increase export. We have increased export of agriculture, which has succeeded very well in the last few years, and we are one of the biggest exporter of orange in the world now.
Yes.
And the second step is to do the same in industrial.
Yes.
As you will know, we have companies that produce industrial ships and industrial small machines, but they're doing it all alone. They are not using the SME, the small companies, to work with them, that they can create a lot of work for people in Egypt. And the Minister of Industrial in the moment is very hard worker, and he localized all the factory which was closed, and as you will know, the amount of it was very huge. It was about 4,500 factory that were closed because of the difficult finance situation and the difficult situation of the foreign currency which we have had in the last 2 years. But I think we are going in a good track, and I hope that the big companies will include the small companies, that they can create work for the rest of the people in Egypt.
Yes, Doctor, you mentioned the importance and the work of the Ministry of Transportation and Industry under the leadership of the Deputy to the Prime Minister, Kamil El-Wazir. How would you assess his work nowadays and for the past few years in the fields of industry, first of all, and the localization of industry and transport as well? Because today we have seen a meeting between His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi with one of the representatives of the French companies today here in Egypt.
Well, I admire this man because he worked very hard.
Yes.
And he is very honest, and he is working day and night, and is not only he is using his expert, he is using everything, and the most important thing is his control. I admire his work in the past 2 years after he was succeed in the in the roads, which we have had a very good projects, and we have a good roads in Egypt now.
Yes.
And then they said, if you would like to have your country succeed in industry or in export or import, you have first to work on your roads. That makes the facilities and the transportation easy. So this man has added a lot of expert in this field, and he succeed very much. Now, when they give him the job of the Minister of Industry, the first thing he did, he collect all the owner of the factories. They were closed because we had a lot, as I have mentioned, about 4,500 factories. They were closed.
Yes.
And it was all about financial. So he created a way of finance, not from the government, but from one of the ministers in Egypt, which they do have a lot of cash. So he used this money to support those people, and he just meet with them, all of them, each week, each day, each month, to make life easier for them, how they could be a successful industrial, and which kind of industry they do.
Yes.
And of course he succeeded very well. Includes he had add another things which from other big countries like China,
Yes.
and Germany and France, and he used those foreign experts to help our people in Egypt. They could build the factories again and try to work again, and he create a lot of job for a lot of people. Besides, they work very hard to build industrial cities, which make life easier for our worker. They could find things to live in it, to bring them children to schools in the areas they work.
Yes, making life easier for the laborers and the workers here in Egypt. We needed more initiatives and more incentives for the businesses here in the country. How would you assess the initiatives that were applied in the field of industry to be giving more incentives to the investors, to the workers, to the producers here in the country to be achieving more and producing more?
As you will know, our country is huge, it's very big. And the people lives not really regularly besides them work.
Yes.
For example, the factory could be in Al-Ashir of Ramadan, and the people lives in downtown, which is very long road to get to go there.
Yes.
And the transportation, we are not yet, but we have done a lot. But we are not yet. It's not easier to have the transportation to those places. And the most of the factories owner, they had arranged buses, transportation for the labor to get them from a place in downtown to go to work and bring them back. But this was not enough. And they have come to the idea of building an industrial city. For example, if we could take the leather company Rebecca,
Yes.
which has been built on the desert road, and with a lot of units, they said, we have built about 17 industrial cities with about 5 million units. So this is huge, and this makes life easy. And it's not only units to live,
Yes.
but includes schools, includes
Neighborhoods, full neighborhoods.
So they could live there safe, close to the work, and with this they can work 8 hours or 10 hours a day, and they can produce more because they come easily from the place where they live, close to the work, with complete relaxation. So if you could arrange this for the labor, they will produce more and they will protect more and efficiently.
So, Doctor, we keep talking about the importance of the localization of industry and what happened over the past 10 years and what we are expecting and anticipating to be happening in the next decade in this field. In your opinion, what is the importance, what is the link between the localization of industry here in Egypt and the strengthening of our economy?
Our economy has suffered a lot because of the reorganization which has been done in the last few years or many
Yes.
years before, because the planning was, for example, I give you an example, for the Nasra company of producing cars.
Yes.
It was very successful in the beginning, and because of some troubles, it has disappeared in a few years. And now they just open it again, reopen it again,
Yes.
and then the first production of it will be, I think, in June, next June, with a special car, with a cheaper price for the Egyptian people. This is one example. But I think with the localization, they have done a very good job, because this will localize our industry and our production, and then also our export to the foreign countries.
Yes, and speaking of jobs, employment is very important in the field of industry, and one of the main targets and one of the main strategies for the political leadership under President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in the past 2 or 3 years, I think until 2023 or 2024, we have seen at least 4 million youth or young men and young women being employed in the field of industry. How do you think this will be changing and increasing? Do you think we need more numbers, we need more people in the field of industry? How do you see the strategy? Is it working?
Yes, we need more, because as you will know, our Egyptian people believe in universities.
Yes.
Every father, every mother needs them children to go to the university. Whatever it is, as long as he got a university degree, that will be for the social life much better, for marriage, and then it's better position.
Yes.
But actually it is wrong, because if I compare the successful country in Europe and in our country, we have a lot of people, a lot of university people degree in Egypt, but we don't have a lot of efficient training people to work in our factories, in our companies, in our computers. This we don't have.
Laborers and workers.
The labor. So if you go to Europe, it's only 5% of the population goes to the university, and the rest they go to the middle bar schools. It's the medium school for technical, and then even for builders, the constructions, they have a school for it, and they get a certificate for it, and therefore they try to build the labor that they could be working very efficient in the future.
And they still make a living and good money.
And this way has been, President Sisi has asked the Minister of Education to introduce this in Egypt and to let it grow.
Yes.
And actually, we are busy with it, and it's going in the good direction.
And following the introduction, according to the directives of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, of this mindset, I wouldn't say a new culture, because he mentioned it is already going on in Europe, for example, in the United States, in the West in general, maybe in China and in the Asian countries as well.
China, they born.
Yes, this mindset, do you think it has changed here in the country now, or do we need tens of years, or at least years, to be changing the mindset that I need to be going to college, I need my degree to be getting a better position, as you mentioned, even for marriage?
No, I think the situation has been a change. Socially, people looks at it differently. As I said, the boy need to go to the university to have a university degree, because if he want to marry, that he has follows the university.
Yes.
And now the difference between before and now is, do you have enough to live? Do you earn enough that you could open a house? Do you earn enough that you can get married? And how is the attitude of the person? These items has been changed in Egypt, not really 100%, but I could say until now, honestly, I think it's about 40%, and the rest we have to follow.
Increasing the industrial zones, as we did see in the past report, about 22 different industrial sites, 5,046 different units over the past 10 years, all over the governorates of Egypt. This led to the increase of employment. How do you see the strategy, and do you think, is there room to grow? Is there room to be having more and more in the future in this field?
We should have more, but I will give you an example. For the constructions of the new Cairo, the
Yes.
new cities,
Yes.
and for the construction of the road, if you consider how many people work in our project, and even in the Haya Karima, for example,
A decent life.
decent life.
Yes.
If you go abroad to the countryside and you can see everywhere, every village, every city, there is a lot of project, a lot of construction, and this has create work for a lot, thousands of people. And this is actually, we must have it in the future in our factories, as I have mentioned before.
Yes.
We have to create an SME, a small company. For example, if a factory, a big company, make machines, they don't have to work in each part of the machines. They have to divide it. For the SME,
Specialty,
that's
specialization.
the small companies
Yes.
could work together with the big company, and the big company could finance them, and they could sell them product. How they sell the product? They get the product, what they do for the big machines, and they use it in the factory which they own, and then therefore we could let everybody work, and we could work efficient, and we could sell our industrial production much better with a good price.
Yes, Doctor, allow me to be going to the other report of the daily debate for tonight, as we focused on the employment, on the laborers, on the workers. What about the land? Because Egypt has unveiled about 13.3 million square meters of industrial land for investment. We'll be having more details in the upcoming reports, so stay tuned.
Egypt's Minister of Industry and Transport, Kamel Wazir, has announced allocation of 13.3 million square meters of serviced industrial land across 22 governorates. Total of 2,172 plots will be made available through Egypt Industrial Digital Platform as part of the government's efforts to strengthen industrial sector. This initiative aligns with government directives to attract industrial investment, launch new projects, and integrate modern technology to enhance investor services. It aims to provide efficient access to industrial land and streamline the investment process for both local and foreign investors. Minister Al-Wazir also announced the launch of the second phase of the Egypt Industrial Digital Platform, which introduces 3 new electronic services. These services include building permits, statements of eligibility, and industrial registry applications. With this expansion, the platform now offers a total of 6 digital services in addition to existing electronic payment options. This enhancement is intended to improve efficiency, accessibility, and transparency in the industrial investment process. The newly allocated land plots range size from 200 square meters to 500,000 square meters, making them suitable for small, medium, and large-scale industrial enterprises. The available plots are designated for various industries, including food production, pharmaceuticals, engineering, chemicals, construction materials, and textiles. Investors will have the opportunity to apply for 2 land options, 1 primary and 1 alternative, in order to increase chances of securing suitable plot. This approach ensures greater flexibility and accessibility for potential investors. This land allocation initiative is part of the Ministry of Industry's broader strategy to boost industrial production, enhance local manufacturing, increase exports, and support industrial investors. The government aims to provide a transparent and structured process for accessing industrial land, encouraging both local and foreign investments. The ministry has confirmed that land allocations will take place every 3 months through the Egypt Industrial Digital Platform, ensuring that serious investors have regular opportunities to secure industrial land. Minister Al-Wazir emphasized that interested investors must register and submit their applications through Egypt Industrial Digital Platform. The application process opened on March 1, 2025, and investors are required to complete their submissions within 1 week of the announcement.
Welcome back. You're still watching the Daily Debate, and I'm honored to be having with me over the episode for tonight in the studio Dr. Abbas Zoghari, the economic expert. Thank you very much once again for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate. Anytime. Of course, we were speaking before the report that Egypt has unveiled 13.3 million square meters of industrial land for investment. How big a number is that?
Well, it's a huge number, but
Yes.
How you gonna use it? That is a clue. You could have a huge number of square meter, but if you did not arrange it well, you will never succeed. But I think that, as I have mentioned in the beginning, the Minister of Industrial has made a good plan, and he is making a good rules and very hard rules for whom is active and he want to work. He can buy it and he can take it with suspicion money, subsidization from the government,
Yes.
and then get a loan for long terms, and they could work. So this will create a possibility for investors to come from abroad, sharing the Egyptian people, but we have to be careful for what we ask from abroad, because we get a lot of investors, but we don't know them well, and we don't know what is the aim of them coming and them invest in Egypt. So this also another discussion which will not take a place in our discussion here.
Yes.
But I just give it as a remark to whom is important. Please take care of whom we get in Egypt to invest.
It's not just about any investing.
Any investment. We just have to be careful about the foreign.
There should be investigations and research.
A lot. And
But this would take time, and this would mean for the investors that they would feel there is a lot of red tape and routine. Don't you think, on the other hand, that
No,
the
most of the
investors would be
country-
thinking about that?
the most of the country doing it, and they're doing it through the embassy, and there is a special department which they call it the economic department.
So we have to be competitive.
They have to be prepared, and they have to investigate well in the country where they come from, whom are those people and to whom they are related. That's what I can say. It's just advice and remarkable.
So what about the private sector of Egypt? How do you see the importance of the private sector in driving growth and boosting the economic development?
I think we have to boost them. We have to help the private sector, because we do have a lot of business people in Egypt, but we have to help them and to give them the safety to invest. It's a big word. I mean, our country is safe, but we have to give them safe steps for the tax, safe steps for being for long terms, safe step for owning the place which they will buy or hire, that they could produce more and more and more, and make life easier for them, because we are sometimes using the old-fashioned way of management, and this doesn't work those days. We have to be modern in everything, in technology, in talking, in training, in everything. And there is a lot of investor in Egypt. They
Yes.
do have a lot of money, but they're still afraid to come out and to invest the money, because they have the idea, what about 5 years after? What will happen to me? So this we have to open our arm to them and to give them the secure. And I think
Yes.
the Minister of Industrial doing this now.
So we have to receive them with open arms, as you mentioned, Doctor. But how is that? What are the incentives that we should be rolling out for the foreign investors to be coming here and to be pumping more investment, some money into the country? They need guarantees, as you mentioned.
First of all, we have to make it easy for them paper arrangement. They
Yes.
don't have to go from place to place. They just have to go one place and then giving all the papers
One-stop
they need.
shop.
One-stop shop.
Yes.
We have talking about this very long time. I'm talking about since 2017, but
Yes.
until now is not arranged yet. But I'm sure that the government will know about it, And it will take time because it needs a lot of investigation and it needs a lot of changing of our employment. We are working on the old-fashioned way still, and this doesn't work nowadays. We have to make things easier, and as you will know, our country is localized now in numbers.
Yes.
So you can check in each spot about everyone, and you can check in every spot about each company. So it's going better, but it is slowly. I'm asking the government to take care of this, give a push.
Speed things up.
Give a pushback.
Yes.
Pushback. Because this will help the private investors in Egypt to come out. Because there is a lot of them. There is plenty of money in this country. Our country is not poor,
Yes.
as people think. We have a lot of money inside. They cannot localize it, but we do have. So if the government will give the secure to the private sector, I think they will be better than the outside investors.
Yes, Doctor, on the other hand, we have seen over the past couple of years, according to the directives of His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, the initiative called IBDA, or start, or begin, for as an incentive for the local industries, for the local businessmen. How do you see and how would you assess the success of this experience or experiment here in the country, and how can we be building up on it?
The idea is perfect and it's good, but
Yes.
my question is this for all Egyptian? Can every Egyptian goes and then knocks the door and said, I would like to start a company? Will he get all the support that he asked for? Will he get all the finance he need in 3 days? And which kind of bank will help them to do that? This is not yet. It's nice that someone can have some money, but not everyone has money. There is a lot of youth in our country, and 65% of our population is youth. They finish the university, their first study, but they don't have work.
Yes.
And if we going to help those people, to train them and to give them the opportunity and to finance them, they will work, because they do have a lot of idea and they are very active, but they don't have money.
They have ideas, they don't have the money. What are the main obstacles facing the local entrepreneurs, and how can we be getting rid of the obstacles?
Well, if you have the idea, you need to have money, and if you have the boss, you need to have vision. What we have to do, we have to create offices, we have to create trainers.
Yes.
They could help those people to build them visions. I can have my visions about I would like to make a company for export and import, but how do I plan that? How do I make it successful? How can I make it successful? This needs training, and we do have experts. So let's try to help those people, to collect them and giving them education that they can start. And we can pick up from each of them who will be able to start a company.
On the other hand, you've mentioned the importance of the Ministry of Transport and Industry under the leadership of Kamel Al-Wazir, of course, General Kamel Al-Wazir. But we need coordination. It's not just about this ministry. We need the Ministry of Youth and Sports, for example, the Ministry of Local Development, the Ministry of Youth and Sports, as I mentioned, in coordination with the Ministry of Transport and Industry, the Ministry of Agriculture, if we are focusing on agriculture. How can we be having coordination and cooperation between those ministries? Because in the past, they were operating as individuals and islands, separated islands. We need more coordination. And how do you think we could be eliminating the obstacles and eliminating the conflicts between one another? Do you think that we are on the right track in this field?
I think the last government and the one before, they start to do that.
Yes.
So the last government, they made the project that they put all the ministry together and to discuss the problem what they have, With the roads, for example, you need the president, the minister of agriculture, and you need the minister of transportation and roads, and you need the minister of industrial, because there is local problems. It has to be discussed and taking quick decision that they could start. For example, if I saw the monorail to Zaid and October, which will solve a very big problem, because nothing is there, nothing, only microbus, people traveling. And there is some spots where people own land and they couldn't give it to the government to build the monorail. And this going fast. So this is how they communicate. And this takes time. I said we are on the right track, but we are not yet. And this will take time. But I think the government now is well organized. They have no differences. They work together. And I am very proud of the Prime Minister, because he got a special way of collecting all the people around, and they're working together. So I'm happy about the way how it works in Egypt.
One of the main fields and one of the main demands by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi is we reach every year $100 billion of exports. How can we be reaching that? And do you think that, are we on the right track to be reaching that level?
Well,
that number?
I have my opinion about it. Because everywhere where the president goes, the prime minister goes, they said, we would like to export, we'd like to export. But first of all, I would like to add something and to give an idea about the export. This is my work. And for those people who would like to export each thing they product. But did you arrange that the local people in Egypt could enjoy our production first? Do we have enough production to make the price, in the local price, suitable for each Egyptian, that he can buy the orange and he can buy the banana and he can buy the potatoes, which is the main food for the Egyptian, with a normal and situated prices from what they earned? I think we have to look at this. Because I see now in Egypt that the agriculture, we export every production we have. It doesn't matter how much, and it doesn't matter if the local people need it or not. So I said, if we would like to do that, we have to aggregate and cultivate more land. Like in Toshka, we have built a factory for dates, and we have built a factory for potatoes. They could produce, they could manufacture the production and export it. Fine, it's fine with me. But I'm talking about the agriculture needs, the agriculture production in Egypt, what our people needed with a special or a normal price. This is clutch what people daily suffer from it. So before I ask people to export, I have to calculate how many tons of potatoes our people need in the price of 10 pounds. And how many tons of tomatoes from our production our country need to use for the price of 8 or 5 pounds, that people can live and have a good life. So that's first we have to do. Second, we aggregate and then...
But in a minute, because we're running out of time.
Okay, that is what I'm asking. But we could reach more than $100 billion. I think we need about 3 to 5 years to reach that. It can't be in a year time.
And hopefully it could be shorter than that. Dr. Abbas Zoghari, the economic expert, thank you very much for being with us tonight on the Daily Debate anytime. And this brings us to the end of the Daily Debate for tonight. Thank you for watching, and I'll be seeing you tomorrow.
Thank you.